I think someone pointed out the Panthers, 7 of the 9 candidates they interviewed were offensive minded. Like they clearly want to get this offense fixed after just years of dysfunction. I think Frank Reich did a pretty good job in Indianapolis, to be honest, until they kind of finally like overestimated his quarterback whisperer abilities. Like he basically got to the point like Carson Wentz, I'll have this guy in the Pro Bowl, and which I guess he probably did make the Pro Bowl since every quarterback makes the Pro Bowl. But Frank Reich seemed like he was doing well until he basically overestimated his quarterback abilities. Just wondering if you guys agree. I think this is a good defensible hire for the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he had done the quarterback thing 3 years in a row. It worked the best with Phillip Rivers. It nearly worked with Carson Wentz. It was one Jaguars loss away from working. And then they just kept going downhill until it downhill to Matt Ryan, downhill to Sam Ehlinger. And that was such a disastrous move that it literally got him fired. But he, like you said, he made it work to, I think, the best of his ability. He also was really adaptive with when he had Phillip Rivers, who wasn't elite, but was still good. We saw them passing more, playing with more pace. And then when he got into the Carson Wentz era, he did coincidentally also get in the Jonathan Taylor era, and he leaned into that. So I think he was reasonably adaptive to working with what he had, although you have to blame him to some extent for the quarterbacks he got. Like, I imagine he was in some way involved. It might not have been his choice alone. We know it wasn't. We know Irsay is pretty involved in these things, but like, I'm sure if he had said like, hey, I can't make Carson Wentz work, he is broken, they probably wouldn't have traded for him. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in Carolina, because there's a giant void at quarterback. So I have no clue how that plays out. But yeah, like you said, as far as guys who have, quote, failed before, I have no problem with this.
Denny or Reeves? Reeves, you claimed you had no opinion on the matter. Is that actually true? Do you just have no opinion on it at all?
I mean, I'm fine with it. It's one of these things, like if you're going to hire a head coach now, I mean, just look at all the teams that made the playoffs and look at the teams that are left. Like, you've got to almost go offense at this age. You want almost your head coach to not be able to be a play caller, so your play caller can't get poached and elevated to a new job. It's just kind of the era we're in the NFL. I will say this about the Panthers, though. I think it's a good job for Frank Reich to take, because when you look at that division, it's a division that probably all 4 teams could have new quarterbacks next year. It's definitely, the rebound for the Carolina Panthers is probably shorter than like a lot of other jobs he could have taken. It all obviously depends on like what kind of quarterback it plays, but that division is going to have a ton of turnover this year anyways.
I hadn't thought about that. That's absolutely true with 4 new quarterbacks, almost certainly. I wonder how many times that's happened in this divisional area with the 4-team divisions. Probably very, very infrequently. Denny, do you have a Frank Reich take, or if we milked this cow?
Yeah, I'll force one here. It could be good for DJ Moore if Frank Reich can get the quarterback situation worked out and get the offense a little more adaptable to the modern age. I know that they got by with like a massively run heavy scheme to end the season. That's not a long-term plan. Let's just be honest. So and DJ Moore, everything about his peripherals says that he's elite. So I'm hoping that we finally might get our lovely DJ Moore.
Just like I'll never believe Brock Purdy's good, I'll never believe DJ Moore is bad.
Oh, he's good.
He actually is really, really good. And man, yeah, it's gonna be really funny when the Panthers get Aaron Rodgers and not the Jets. By the way, the Jets on the Jets. That was the other news on Thursday. The Jets, they're keeping Broncos country riding just further and further into the desert, until they ride one day into the canyon. It's too dark. Broncos country will ride forever in the hearts of New York Jets fans for 1 year, after everyone gets fired next year. Because I think the Jets, I feel like, just basically like signed like their death warrant as an offense, unless they get Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I mean, it's a way better coordinator than he is head coach. Like I think.
Yeah, I mean, is he?
Yeah,
there's no way he's a worse coordinator than.
He's never been he was not a good coordinator for the Bills or the Jaguars. I don't think he called plays for the Packers. Pretty sure that was LaFleur, right?
I think he was just Aaron Rodgers' friend.
Yeah, was he even the coordinator, or was he the quarterback's coach for the Packers?
I think he was passing game specialist or something.
I think he was the offensive coordinator.
He was, I think, technically offensive coordinator, but
he was the coordinator, and Otten, how do you ever say that one, was the passing game coordinator, or maybe he's the run game coordinator.
Not a real person.
I think Denny's maybe onto like a shred of truth in that so much of this team was like high-level dysfunction. I don't think I mean, they also were pretty vanilla weak schematically, but they were, I think, meh schematically and functionally a complete train wreck. Like, there were reports of Russell Wilson not knowing what audibles to call at the line. He was still using Seattle calls. They were like, they led the league in every single category of penalty on offense. They had like terrible clock management. Those are things that you can maybe corral with the other coaches around him, both above him at the head coach level and below him at like position coach levels. Now, do I think like it's a particularly smart hire? No, but I don't
this
think
guy was overwhelmed in the media market of Denver, and now he's going to. Here can be a bit of a tough crowd.
But he's not. But he's not the head guy. That's the important part.
But he's going to be treated like the head guy because he's going to be like the new guy, and he's going to be the fall guy.
We're not going to talk about him at all. Like Robert Saleh is there to take all the bullets from the media, and Hackett. We won't even talk about Hackett. He's a non-issue.
Things might smooth over if they get an actual quarterback. This team has talent at receiver.
That's
like
true.
they are well coached at the head coach level. I think like they could just like we could forget about, and they could still they still make all the false start penalties, like the false start penalties and the delay of game penalties. Don't even get me started on the delay of game penalties. They could still make those, but if they get Aaron Rodgers and he's back to prime Aaron Rodgers, whether or not it's Hackett's doing, we will give him enough credit, or at least ignore him. We'll ignore him, like Denny said.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But interesting coach goings-ons on Thursday. Is it goings-on or is it goings-ons, Denny? I can't ever remember.
It's goings-ons.
I hit Denny with an unawares on the phone earlier. So
yeah, man. I thought I was talking to a 75-year-old.
I've been crossover dribbling today.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, okay? Respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.